Shein, the Chinese fast fashion behemoth, has taken the world by storm. In just a few short years, it has become a global phenomenon among young consumers. Trendy clothes at low prices, delivered to your doorstep. Shein's rise shows the power of e-commerce and fast fashion. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Shein's social media marketing flourished. Flash sales and limited-time offers created urgency. Aggressive social media strategy made Shein a dominant force. Shein's success is no accident. It can be attributed to a shrewd combination of technology, data analytics, and a deep understanding of consumer psychology. The company has harnessed the power of big data and artificial intelligence to create an incredibly agile and responsive supply chain. Shein utilizes real-time data analysis to identify emerging trends and consumer preferences. This allows them to design, manufacture, and ship new styles to the market at lightning speed, sometimes within a matter of days. Their vertically integrated supply chain allows for greater control over production and minimizes delays. Furthermore, Shein's direct-to-consumer model eliminates the middleman, allowing them to offer incredibly low prices. This resonates particularly well with Gen Z and millennials, generations accustomed to online shopping and budget consciousness. By leveraging technology and a data-driven approach, Shein has managed to disrupt the traditional fashion industry and establish itself as a major player in the global market. This success, however, has come at a cost. Behind the allure of cheap and trendy clothing lies a darker side to Shein's success story. The company has faced mounting criticism for its labor practices, environmental impact, and lack of transparency. The sheer volume of clothing produced by Shein raises concerns about overproduction and waste. Reports of unsafe working conditions in Shein's factories have surfaced, raising questions about fair labor practices. The company's reliance on synthetic materials and mass production contributes to environmental pollution and the depletion of natural resources. Furthermore, the disposal of unwanted Shein clothing adds to the growing problem of textile waste in landfills. The fast fashion model, which encourages a constant cycle of consumption and disposal, is inherently unsustainable. Shein's business practices, while profitable, raise serious ethical and environmental concerns that cannot be ignored. As consumers become more aware of the true cost of fast fashion, Shein is facing increasing scrutiny and pressure to change. The environmental and ethical implications of Shein's business model are significant. The company's reliance on synthetic fabrics derived from fossil fuels contributes to greenhouse gas emissions and climate change. The production process for these materials is often water-intensive and pollutes waterways with harmful chemicals. Moreover, the transportation of Shein's products across the globe generates a significant carbon footprint. The company's focus on speed and low prices often comes at the expense of environmental regulations and sustainable practices. This raises concerns about the long-term impact of Shein's operations on the planet. Ethically, Shein has been criticized for its lack of transparency and alleged poor labor practices. While the company claims to adhere to ethical standards, allegations of worker exploitation and unsafe working conditions persist. The fast fashion industry's history of prioritizing profit over people raises valid concerns about the well-being of garment workers within Shein's supply chain. The tide seems to be turning against fast fashion giants like Shein. Consumers, particularly younger generations, are becoming increasingly aware of the social and environmental costs associated with their shopping habits. Documentaries, social media campaigns, and news reports have shed light on the dark side of the industry, prompting a shift in consumer consciousness. This growing awareness has fueled a rise in consumer activism. Shoppers are demanding greater transparency from brands, boycotting companies with questionable practices, and embracing sustainable alternatives. This shift in consumer sentiment is putting pressure on fast fashion brands to reevaluate their business models and adopt more responsible practices. Governments and regulatory bodies are also taking notice. Legislation aimed at curbing the environmental impact of the fashion industry is being considered and implemented in various parts of the world. These regulations, often focused on reducing waste, promoting circularity, and enforcing ethical labor practices, pose a challenge to Shein's current business model. The future of Shein and fast fashion hangs in the balance. Faced with criticism and regulatory pressure, companies like Shein are at a crossroads. To survive, they must adapt and evolve. One scenario is embracing sustainability and transparency. This means overhauling supply chains and improving labor conditions. Alternatively, Shein could focus on growth and profit. But this risks backlash and regulatory challenges. Shein's choices will impact the entire industry and the planet. As consumers, we hold immense power. Our purchasing decisions have the ability to shape industries, influence trends, and drive change. The rise of Shein and the dominance of fast fashion are a reflection of our collective choices. It's time to recognize the impact of our fashion habits and make more conscious decisions. We need to move away from the allure of cheap, disposable fashion and embrace a more mindful approach to clothing. This involves buying less, buying better, and investing in quality pieces that will last. Supporting sustainable brands, exploring secondhand options, and repairing and upcycling our clothes are all steps in the right direction. By changing our consumption patterns, we can send a powerful message to the fashion industry. We can demand greater transparency, ethical practices, and a commitment to sustainability. The power to transform the fashion industry lies in our hands. Every purchase is a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. The good news is that there are plenty of sustainable alternatives to fast fashion. From ethical brands using organic cotton and recycled materials to vintage stores offering unique and timeless pieces, there are options for every style and budget. Embracing these alternatives allows us to express our personal style while reducing our environmental impact. Renting clothes for special occasions, swapping clothes with friends, and supporting local designers and artisans are also great ways to reduce our reliance on fast fashion. By shifting our mindset from ownership to access and embracing creativity in our wardrobes, we can reduce textile waste and create a more sustainable fashion ecosystem. Building a mindful closet is an ongoing journey of learning, experimenting, and making conscious choices. It's about curating a wardrobe that reflects our values, respects the environment, and supports ethical labor practices. By choosing quality over quantity, we can create a wardrobe that is both stylish and sustainable.